The rain turned the pavement into a slick mirror as Ethan pedaled past the tilted house at the end of Willow Lane. He kept his grip tight, feeling the vibration of the road through the rubber handles. The iron gate ahead groaned, a sharp, metallic sound that cut through the steady hiss of the downpour. There, standing just inside the boundary, the old man remained perfectly still. His skin was pale, reflecting the dim gray light. He stared at Ethan with a focus that halted the boy's momentum. Suddenly, the old man raised a hand. His fingers trembled against the wet air. He waved, a slow, deliberate motion. Ethan felt the weight of the moment, yet he laughed, a nervous sound that vanished instantly in the wind. He raised his own hand and waved back. The reaction was immediate. The old man's lips pulled apart, stretching wider than any human jaw should allow, a jagged, unnatural grin that split his face. He did not blink. He simply turned and retreated into the deep, impenetrable shadows of the porch, leaving Ethan alone in the freezing rain. The clock displayed 3:13 a.m. when the first knock vibrated through the bedroom wall. It was heavy, deliberate, and impossible for anything living to produce. Ethan sat bolt upright, heart hammering against his ribs, but the hallway outside was empty. He waited for dawn, eyes fixed on the ceiling. When the light finally bled through the curtains, he saw them. Muddy, wet footprints tracked across the plaster above his bed, leading toward the corner and vanishing into nothing. He did not wait for breakfast. He ran to the local library, his pulse racing with every stride. The librarian pulled a dusty, yellowed newspaper from 1954. The headline stared back at him. Local hermit found dead 3 years earlier. Ethan pointed at the photograph, his hand shaking. The librarian did not look up. She kept her voice low, a sharp, warning whisper. She told him the grave had been empty for decades. She told him that the man in the picture was not a memory, but a collector. Once you acknowledge him, she said, he marks you. The librarian pushed the paper away, her eyes darting to the door. She warned him that those who wave back never stay in this world for long. The digital numbers flickered to 3:13 a.m. The knocking returned, but this time, it was not on the wall. It came from the glass. Ethan pulled back the curtain, his breath hitching in his chest. Outside, in the dead air of the second-story height, the old man hung suspended. He did not fall. He did not move. He simply hovered against the dark sky, his hand raised in that same, slow, rhythmic wave. Ethan backed away, but the window frame groaned and gave way. The old man drifted through the opening, his form flickering like a dying candle. He settled into the wooden chair by the desk, the floorboards groaning under a weight that should not have been there. Dark, viscous water began to pool around the legs of the chair, staining the rug black. Ethan opened his mouth, but only a ragged sound escaped. He slammed the bedroom door and shouted for his parents. They burst into the room seconds later, but the chair was empty. The air felt cold, smelling of deep, wet earth. They did not pack. They did not hesitate. They left the house that same hour, abandoning everything to the silence of the night. Years blurred into a cycle of survival. Ethan built a new life, brick by brick, marriage by marriage, until a daughter filled the rooms with light. Yet, the past remained a ghost in his calendar. Every year, without fail, the clock hit 3:13 a.m., and the walls began to shudder. Knock, knock, knock. The rhythm was a metronome of dread that defined his existence. He kept the lights burning. He kept his family close. But the pattern was etched in stone, an annual tax paid in terror. Then came his 43rd birthday. The clock ticked past 3:12. He sat upright in bed, hands clenched into fists, waiting for the first strike against the plaster. He waited for the house to groan under the unseen pressure. 1 minute passed, then 5. The digital display blinked to 3:14 a.m. Silence. A heavy, profound, absolute silence filled the bedroom. Ethan exhaled, a long, jagged breath that left his body shaking. He leaned back against the headboard, his heart slowing for the first time in decades. The curse had broken. The entity had moved on. He closed his eyes, relief washing over him like a warm tide. Then, the bedroom door creaked open. His 6-year-old daughter stood in the hallway, her face pale in the moonlight. She walked toward his bed, her eyes wide and unnervingly still. She climbed onto the edge of the mattress. Her fingers traced the pattern of the quilt. "A nice old man stood by the gate today," she whispered. He waved at me, so I waved back. Ethan bolted upright. The air in the room turned frigid. Before he could scream, the first blow landed. Not one knock, but hundreds. A deafening, rhythmic barrage hammered against every wall, floor and ceiling simultaneously. The house groaned under the kinetic assault. The lamps exploded in a shower of sparks, plunging the room into absolute suffocating darkness. From the center of the gloom, a voice emerged, sounding like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "Now, it is your family's turn." The hammering stopped as abruptly as it had begun. The house fell into a tomb-like stillness. Ethan reached out, but his hands found only empty air. The room was cold. The furniture was undisturbed, but they were gone. Outside, the rain continued its steady, rhythmic pulse against the iron gate at Willow Lane. The old man stood there once more, his hand rising in the dark, waiting for the next person to wave.